minutes late. So we're going to be talking now about manufacturing. And of course, when Lee wrote the manifesto, it was shortly after the devastating factory collapse in Bangladesh. And she was thinking a lot about the manufacturing process of the fashion industry. So did you want to say anything about it, Lee?
Yeah, I think that the situation has not really improved much. Not so long ago, people would find messages in the pockets of their clothes saying, you bought this garment, but I didn't earn anything. So it's very true still that on the other end of the spectrum, people are working for close to nothing. It's a sort of form of contemporary slavery still. And so we need to address this urgently. Many manufacturers are under the radar. The big companies don't really know how to verify what's happening. If somebody sometimes goes to these big firms in Asia and India, they come to terrible conclusions of how people are housed
and in Europe as well.
Yeah, so there is still enormous pain in our clothes. So our clothes are pain. This is what we need to teach also to children and to grown-ups, that there's a very big human price in the garments we think we can just own. And so therefore we have to be more and more careful in the way we consume. And therefore it's really important that we now speak to the new speakers, the coming speakers, who are finding solutions for this contemporary problem.
Yeah, so we're going to welcome Tim Van Steenbergen and Ruth Goossens from REantwerp. It's one of the best examples we've encountered of a company which is doing things in the right way and giving voices to everybody that they collaborate with, because they love fashion but are aware of the harmful effects the industry has on the planet and its people. So I'd like to welcome them to give us a tour of their studio in Antwerp, and they're going to talk to us about their important work, but also their new collection.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hello. Hi.
Hi.
Welcome in Antwerp.
We maybe can start with a quick tour on the studio. It's empty because it's a Saturday, so people are not working. So this is our studio. It's way too tiny for the moment, so we're looking for an occasion to find a bigger one.
Yeah. So what we actually do is connect design directly to the makers, because what we think is that fashion can also be hopeful, and we want to give people with a distance to the labor market, or people newcomers, the opportunity to integrate via clothing. I think we've both been working in the system for more than 20 years, and we wanted to see also a difference. And a difference can only be made when you do it radical. So we said at REantwerp, we made REantwerp like I think 1 year ago, and we decided not to buy any meters of fabric anymore, and to have a total transparent system of making fashion. So REantwerp now is built on the ecosystem of the Antwerp creative system, where there are a lot of designers. They're very open, so we connect through fabrics. We don't buy any meter. We work completely on dead stock, and we shift context. We shift context, and we do this with people we find in asylum centers, where we can connect with them, and they all have a history in making in the land, in the countries where our clothes used to be made, or our clothes are made. So they all come here, and together we try to create a completely new ecosystem where the focus is on the makers, not on the designers anymore, but on the makers, and the connection between a social system and a creative system. So we do everything inside of the maker studio. So the shop is here, the retail is here, the design is here, and the makers are telling the story of the clothes.
That's it. I Yeah, so actually, when we started this project 1 year ago, we weren't sure if we could make it a collection because you never know what to make. You never know before the people that are arriving here. So it's a really nice idea to see, okay, what these people can make, and then you have Tim, who is the designer, but also the makers who give sometimes inspiration. They took the inspiration out of their country, and so we try to mix it in our clothes. On the other hand, it's also the fabrics, like Tim said, who are the inspiration, because we don't have a lot of these meters of fabrics. So what we often do is combining two fabrics from two different designers and give it a new context. We don't work with a lot of stock, so we often make only 5 pieces of one shirt, combining two. I will maybe share a bit of the images. If I find it. No, I don't find it. No, doesn't work. Sorry. So we often have small batches of shirts or pants, and then we have to look for new materials, doing other combinations. So it's more out of the material that we have a collection, instead of the designer choosing his fabrics. And
I would like to explain it. It's more like I've been designing for more than 20 years, and for me it's a shift in design, and I think it's very important for the future that younger people also start to rethink in what is design. And it's just changing the context of design. Like for us, designing is not like working in a pyramid, but it's like you stand next to each other, you see what's coming on your path from materials, who is here in our workshop, who can make things, and together we create. What's important for us too is the clothes we make. It's not only a product, but it's also changing people's lives. We have a lot of beautiful stories here, people entering the workshop, they don't speak the language, they don't have a home, they don't have their family here, and by coming into the workshop, they have the first time again where they can focus on what they're good at. And it makes so much a difference. And then making clothes or making textile becomes a story of hope. Hope for people, because you change people's lives, because it's the first part they can start rebuilding again. And for me, that was a very important thing to see, that fashion isn't only a product or an artistic vision, but fashion can also change people's lives. And it's such a beautiful thing when people enter in our store, which is directly connected with our workshop, and connect with the people who are making the clothes, because suddenly you feel that fashion can be really communicative without having language, and you feel the language of craft. I often say to these people, you don't speak Dutch, you don't speak English, it doesn't matter. You speak the language of craft. And that's how we connect here. We work with people from Iraq, from Palestine, but also from Ukraine. And there's no common language, but we have this language of craft. And to be able to translate that in a product, which is also relevant, because we are a social project, but also we want to create a relevant collection. It's a beautiful thing to see that fashion can really help people and can tell this story. We're very small, we only existing 1 year, but my goal is that we can inspire people, and especially young people, that it can be different, and that the story behind clothing, like a very simple thing, if it's made in the right way, if it's manufactured in the right way, the story behind can be as beautiful as the story of a very complex thing.
Yeah, and in a way it gives your clothes more meaning. We see it often when they come to our store, that we have our hang tags, and on the hang tags we always write who has made it, how many pieces and the fabrics are from. And then when people buy something, they often want a selfie with the people making them, and that's really funny because you see they are really proud, and also for the ones who buy it, it's an extra, it's meaningful.
And that's how we try to make in this world of fashion a really transparent story, which helps people and brings people from point A to point B and gives people a better life. And it's an incredible thing to live. And it's the difference between just creating fashion in a system that wants more and more products and having a social story now where you help people by making clothes. It's the most beautiful thing I experienced in my career.
Yeah. Absolutely. I see there is a question about who determines who enters and becomes a part of your studio. We do a test. So they come, we have a talk, we explain our vision and what we want to do, and we listen to their story. And then afterwards they do a test because they have to have experience in textile. So we're not doing them from zero to, they have to have some experience.
I think it's important too to understand that not just working here, but it's also there's a social control. So there's a person here responsible for their social background, all the questions they have, because it's very complicated for them. Some of them can't work, they need to have their papers. Yeah. So there's a lot of stress on these people, and often it's amazing. It's like a therapy, just giving people, like, do what you like to do, just stitch the pocket. It's like a therapy for a lot of people. And then you have like our social assistant, he's constantly here to help them to grow into in our society.
So thank you very much for this beautiful new initiative. I am really inspired by this, and I wonder if we should have New York, Amsterdam, Paris, Berlin.
That was a bit the idea when we started. Yeah. We wanted to make a brand book for to have this in Paris, London,
But what's very important there is that it stays in a certain ecosystem, because we don't want to start sending out meters of fabric everywhere. I think it's like Ruth's telling, we have the ambition to make a brand book. How do you tell this? How do you make this story? And then you have to do it in a local circumstances, because we work completely with, of course, designers as Dries van Noten, Raf Simons, where we can work with, but every city has its designers, and every city has its story of refugees. So the combination can be translated into different cities, and we are open to talk with everybody to show how it could proceed.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for the initiative and for doing it already for a year and having this experience and sharing it with us, because it's really World Hope Forum.
Thank you.
So I understand that soon you're going to have a website that's going online. So we will share that with everybody so that they can also support you, maybe even give donations to you. But what about the photo shoots that you're doing? Because that's also a famous part of what people are talking about. So can you tell us a little bit about how you do the lookbooks and the ad campaign?
Yeah, we try to keep it as natural as possible. So we also, for this one, we are looking into our own network, or also can also be refugees, but also have this mixture in the models we are looking for. Mostly it's the first time modeling they do, so they were never in front of a camera, but that gives it also really natural look. And then we also do different sizes, different ages, so you have this idea of what can be. Yeah, it's Benoit Betume. He also works backstage for a lot of bigger brands like Marine Serre and so on.
Because I think it's important in these kind of projects to be ambitious also in your imagery, because we felt that if you're not ambitious enough, it drops away. So you need to put it on a high-end level visually to make it alive. But then we take the ingredients of what we use for our makers, we take the same ingredients and do it with our communication system. And I think that works really well. And it's also very interesting because you see the relation between people who are making it and people who are showing the clothes, and suddenly you get a new ecosystem. And that's really interesting to see what happens, because you get recognition. And the beautiful thing is you get a connection with each other. And there you see how clothing and how visual things can connect together. And there you start to speak the same language again.
It's amazing. Mm.
Yeah, oh, I love how you said that it's for you the highlight or the best thing that you've done in your career. So I can imagine what that feels like for both of you. So
It's
thank you very much.
There's so much more gratitude you get from making clothes, where before, of course, like you indicated, a lot of people don't even know where their clothes are made. And I really started to ask myself question like, is it logic? Because we are so much aware about the air we breathe, the water we drink. And a lot of people forget to think about it's not just something you buy, who made it, who really made it. And therefore we really want to show you can be really 120% transparent in who made the clothes and make even the difference in making the clothes. And that's the beauty of the project.
Thank you.
Congratulations and thank you for being with us today. You're leaders in the anti-fashion movement, so thank you.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
And great designers.